Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Full Credit to Not Another Rugby League Podcast. I'm your special guest, former legend, and you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and that busted-ass platform that is Blue Sky at former_legend. And let's kick off this week with what caught my senses in the past 7 days. And it's this story with that alleged singer, Keli Holiday, being refused entry into America, boys. As we all know, Keli is the handbag of his girlfriend Abby Chatfield, and to say that they're an annoying couple is like saying I like beer, KFC and a punt.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock!
So apparently this bloke with the merkin haircut was stopped at the border by US Marshals and denied entry. And it's just got me thinking, boys, how can a country that's going so bad get something so right? Anyway, enough of that. Time to do a rapid recap of round 10, which was of course the inaugural tax-free round where the NRL paid 1 week of income tax for all players in an effort to get them to feel what it would be like to play for the Papua New Guinea Chief Harrogans. Most players appreciated the gesture, especially the highly paid ones like the Strawberry Milkshake Man, Kalen Ponga, Dylan Brownstains, the Chin, Nathan Cleary, and the Milkman, Mitchell Moses. But apparently there was a bit of a controversy at the Roosters, as many players complained that they hardly noticed any difference in their wage despite the tax break, before CEO Nick Politis reminded the players that they were all on minimal wage. Wink, wink, if you know what I mean. Anyway, let's review round 10 when we start on Thursday night up at Campbell Newman Stadium, where the Dolphins pumped the Bulldogs at home 44 points to 12. I'm not vindicative, boys, but do you remember last year when Lachlan Galvin left the Tigers because Benji Marshall couldn't develop his career? How's he going over at Belmore? He must be in contention for an Origin start by now, given he's being coached by Cameron Daddo and that attacking genius Winskeens O'Brien. I mean, surely he's got the number 6 jersey wrapped up for the Blues. For the Dogs now, they've lost 6 of their past 7, and many of their fans have reached out to me during the week and asked, Former, where are the Dogs at? And the answer is pretty obvious to me. If the Bulldogs footy team were your pet dog at home, you'd be taking them for a walk out in the bush, tell them to go and chase some rabbits before you jumped in the car and left them there. Friday night saw the Roosters, who had a training run up at Single Mum Stadium on the Central Coast, beating the Gold Coast Witches Hats 28 points to 12. The talking point in this one was when Robert Toyer crossed in the 31st minute after running onto a James Tedesco pass. Replay suggested the centre had lost control of the ball before it was grounded. However, after an extensive review, the Roosters were blessed that the only man in the whole entire world who thought it was a try was the bunker official Adam G, who awarded the 4-pointer. G was later seen driving back to Sydney a brand new Ford Ranger, lucky duck. The sad clown, Daniel Tupou's try, moved him ahead of Billy Slater in this game, who apparently used to ride horses or something, from what I can tell. He's now the 3rd highest try scorer in Premiership history. That's now 6 straight wins for the Roosters, only the 2nd time under Trent Robinson that they have won 6 straight games in the first half of the season. And it's now 7 straight wins for the Roosters at Gosford, their longest streak at any venue outside of Moore Park in more than 2 decades. In fact, the only blokes who have had a better streak on the Central Coast was former legend back in the day when he used to go straight to Mumbo Jumbo's nightclub off the train and cut a few fillies loose from the herd. The second game on Friday was up at Queensland Rebank Stadium, where the Eels won a Golden Point game by 3 points. Get your mind around that one. They won at 33 points to 10. The Milkman, Mitchell Moses, slotted the field goal right at the end, despite a reckless charge-down attempt from Scott Bongwater. And in a confusing scenes, Parramatta was awarded a penalty after the play, allowing Timu superhero Volkman to slot another goal from right in front. The game was Jason Taumalolo's 294th appearance, breaking Jonathan Thurston's club record for the Cowboys. Taumalolo maintains his dismal record in milestone matches. He's previously lost his first game, his 100th game, his 150th game, his 200th game, and his 250th. It's unlikely the club or his family will do anything for his game 300 in 6 weeks' time. The first game on Super Saturday was from Port Kembla Carcinogenic Outfall Stadium, where the Knights travelled down to beat the Bye 44 points to 10. It was the second hiding the Dragons have copped since sacking Shane Flanagan and promoting his assistant Dean Young. Only the Dragons would employ the 2IC and expect to change, except maybe the Bulldogs, who signed a wooden spooner to run their team's attack. The Dragons are officially off to the worst start of the NRL era, dating back to 1998, with the only other two teams winless through 9 games being the Newcastle Knights of 2005 and the South Sydney Rabbitohs of 2006. They actually look so bad that bookies are betting they won't win a game before 2029, or their coach is known as Dean Old. The second game on Super Saturday was at Empty Seat Stadium, where the Rabbitohs beat the Sharks 36 points to 12. They're a fun team, the Sharks, unless you're tipping them, punting on them, or following them, as once again they prove they are the NRL's biggest bunch of flat-track bullies. So much so that coach Gibbon Fitzcraig said he was sick of waiting for his team to click into gear and told them to harden up. Unfortunately, most of the Sharks players were busy doing their hair and making TikToks to listen. The game marked the debut of Latrell Seawalt, and the young man impressed, finishing with 2 try assists and kicking 6 goals. Seawalt brought 120 family members up from Wagga to watch his debut, and the family had 2 reasons to celebrate on the weekend, with his nan celebrating her 100th birthday. Coach Wayne Bennett said he considered dating Nana Seawalt, but these days he tries not to date women younger than him. The final game on Super Saturday was from Foreskin Park, where the Sea Eagles beat the Broncos 32 points to 4. Brisbane were their own worst enemies in this one, committing 18 errors and 15 of those were in the second half alone. Supercoach Madge Maguire was asked if the constant chopping and changing from injuries had taken its toll on his team. To be honest with you, he said, that's not an excuse. I've got full confidence in these players in that change room. I came down here with high expectations about how they would go about things, and we weren't able to do that tonight. We'll keep it simple this week at training. We'll bring back the spew buckets, and if that doesn't work, we'll look at waterboarding. Since Supercoach Kieran Foran took over at Manly from the sacked Anthony Seabon, the Seagulls have won 5 of 6, with the only loss a 2-point thriller against Penrith. And the second game of the year for boom half Joey Walsh has many Manly fans salivating over the future, which is ironic given they have to play every second week at Foreskin Park, which is like going back to the 1970s. Sunday, and the Storm hosted the team of destiny, the West Tigers, at Ron and Kutut Stadium, and the Storm came good to win their first game in 6 years, 44 points to 16. The Tigers went into the game missing their fullback, their halfback, their hooker, their best back rower, their front rower, their ball boy, their physio, their trainer, their mascot, their scoreboard attendant, their bus driver, 2 cheerleaders, treasurer and Lockie Galvin. And despite being down 26 points to 4 at the break, they toughed it out in the second half to be not completely humiliated. After the game, though, West's supercoach Benji Marshall has said his team's last 2 defeats have created a negative smell following the Tigers' promising start to the season. It's had staff at the Tigers trying to find the source of the negative smell all week. The last time they had to do something similar was when they were all asked to smell John Hopewadi's finger back in 2001.
Smell me finger. I've had it in your mother's minge.
And in the final game of the round, Penrith went down to GM Coles Stadium in Canberra to collect another win, beating the Raiders 30 points to 18. Crazy stat from this one, set completions in the first half saw Canberra go 20 for 20, while the Panthers went 18 for 18. And it was a return to form for Raiders half the wicked boneless combo pack Ethan Sanders, who scored his team's first try and kept the Panthers honest all night. But in the battle of the halves, there was only one winner, and the chin, Nathan Cleary, was easily the best on ground. So much so that Ricky Stewart told the media after the game that the chin was the difference between the two sides, which is a hell of a swipe at his own halves. So that's round 10 wrapped up, boys, a round where the Tigers are looking for a phantom farter. Jason Riles had nothing to say about refereeing because his team won, and St George fans started to sew Swans patches on their jerseys. Back to you at the Nathan Brooks Memorial Studios.
See some action, baby. I'm gonna see some action.